And again, I want to piggyback on a video that I just put out, and why it's so important to take splits on a cross country and even a road race. If you're going to run a course, whether it be in the road or cross country, you're going to do it more than one time in a season. You gain familiarity, but you want to know what it's like, and if you can preview it prior to, it's a good idea as well. But today's video talks about designing workouts based on the courses that you're going to run. You want to simulate the race environment that you're going to be in, whether you're a coach or an athlete, right? So if you're a coach, designing the workouts for your athletes. This is one reason why I've done Momentum Hill videos, and I've got a lot more stuff coming to you. But Momentum Hills is essentially a hilly loop, and let's just say designed in a way. Let's just use Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx, okay, for 4K or 5K or 10 or whatever it is. But the first start of the race, the first mile, in some cases, a mile for college folks, mile and a half for college folks, 1,200 meters for high school folks, is pretty much all on the flats. And then you have the next batch of running in the hills, where it's undulating, where it's unpredictable, where it's you've got to be ready for it. And then you come back out on the flats, and you finish on the flats. But how well you recover so that you can maximize your finishing speed and the finishing part of the race on the flats is absolutely important. So designing workouts that simulate the courses that you race in are very, very important. Whether it be short reps, 600 meter reps for some, for maybe the younger folks, 800 meter reps, 1,000 meter reps, mile repeats, and Momentum Hills is such. Let's just say you have a course and the last part of it's on an uphill. Well, you could design repeats if you have it available to you, so that the finishing part of each repeat simulates the end of a race. It's on an uphill. You learn how to finish a hard rep on the uphill. If the rep's in the middle, then you put it in the middle. If the rep's in the beginning, you put it in the beginning. Okay? Put it in the beginning teaches you how to recover afterward and get back into your groove. Okay? Doing it in the middle helps you build momentum leading up to it and gives you finishing momentum coming out of it. So, and that simulates a Van Cortlandt Park. But why is this important to do? Well, it's again to simulate the race environment that you're going to be in. If the race is flat, then the race is flat. I still encourage folks to do rolling hill long runs to build the leg strength, and over distance workouts like tempo or threshold workouts, which tend to be a little bit more stringent in the pace ranges that you follow. So doing those on the flat, if you have the opportunity, are a good idea, because then you can do over distance without taxing the body. Okay, over distance tempo runs, over distance threshold repeats, whether it's cruise thousands, 800s, 12s, or whatever, and staying within a pace range, a tighter pace range on the flats, as opposed to rolling, where it becomes a little bit more race simulating, where the pace variation becomes a little bit more drastic, and you have to take those into consideration, and you might have to change the rest periods too. So, but again, designing workouts based on the courses that you're going to be racing in, if you have the opportunity, especially if it's a course that you race multiple times, okay? And think about it this way: as you get fitter, folks might go out faster for the opening mile, okay? As you get fitter, that just happens normally. You get used to that, and so on and so forth. But there are situations where, and this is why I said taking splits is important in my last video too, where some folks go out too fast, and then they slow down in this part and that part and this part. This is you learn by taking splits and taking notes of why you learn why this is important. It allows you to make adjustments in the training and adjustments in the race strategy for certain people. Because the idea at the end of the day, is to close the gap from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. Right? You want to have a close, tight gap of your runners, because the idea in cross country is to score the least amount of points as possible, as opposed to other sports is where you're looking to score the most amount. Okay, so it's important. That's why I emphasize this. That's why I emphasize designing your workouts based on the courses you're going to run. Okay, so it's easier to increase the pace in certain workouts when it's on the flat. It doesn't tax you as much as the hills do. You can cut the rest in the hills. You can run them faster in the hills as well. You can keep the same recovery and just run the reps faster. It's a symbol of your athletes getting fitter as well. But there's certain variations in rolling courses that need to be taken into consideration, in my opinion. I'm speaking from 2 decades experience as a coach as well, that these are little things that you can do as a coach to help give you the edge, help, give you an advantage over your competitors in cross country, help prepare your athletes better for the races or the type of races that they're going to run. Okay. So again, if it's a hill, if it's a course where the hills are in the beginning, you could design workouts where the hills are in the beginning. If they're in the middle, you can design it for them to be in the middle. If they're at the end, you can design them to be towards the end. You can even do a tempo run and then do hill repeats at the end of the tempo run to simulate attacking the uphill when you're already fatigued. Simulates the end of a race. So, but setting up your training in such a way, sometimes, it doesn't have to be all the time, but when it comes to being a little bit more race specific and you want to be, this is the course you're going to run for an invitational and your championship races, it's a good idea to maybe build some of the training around the way the course looks like to help make sure that your athletes are as ready as possible for that. So I wanted to emphasize that. It's a compliment to the last time in the last video I did, which is the importance of taking splits. And again, splits can be an indicator of your fitness, your race strategy, a little bit of both, right? And it can tell you a lot about changes or adjustments that you might need to make in race strategy, fitness. He or she might need a little bit more of this, a little bit more endurance, a little bit more speed, whatever it might be. It gives you a lot of data, especially if it's a flat course. Okay, or if it's a rolling course too, it tells you how well your athletes are recovering from the rolling hill portion. Are they finishing stronger after the hills? Are they finishing not stronger? It tells you a lot. It gives you the information that you need to make modifications in your training should you want to do that, if you feel it's appropriate. And again, it's up to your judgment as a coach. But this is definitely something that I find to be helpful, and giving the athletes a little bit more of a preparatory training edge. And again, it's all legit. It's not cheating or anything like that. But it's, again, these are the ingredients that, and this is where I say coaching with the eye is just as important, if not more important, than coaching with the watch, because you can find out some things, you can see some things here, okay, by paying attention to your athletes. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, hit a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's greatly helpful. We're on the road. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers next year. Trying to get to 3,000 by the end of the season. So by the end of the year, So your support's greatly appreciated. It means the world. And I want to make sure you don't miss out on any important training details. This is the type of stuff that, again, it's not necessarily talked about in videos or books that I find to be helpful, that some coaches think about but never really talk about with other coaches, or athletes, which is why I want to share it here with you. So I hope you found it beneficial. Again, train hard, train smart, have a great season, and I'll talk to you next time.